Phone lines are lit. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial. I already see phone lines lighting. Jordan in Chapel Hill is calling in to the program right now.
Wow.
Listen, let's just jump right into it. There's no sense in.
I don't think any of this is.
There's no sense. There's no sense in beating around the bush. I've got to tell you that throughout this Hall of Fame voting process, in which I am hoping to hear next Thursday night when I'm part of the NFL Honors Show, and it's one of my biggest honors being part of the announcement of the Pro Football Hall of Fame class. And I take this seriously. You guys know that, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. NFL Network back in the day, we were the first to televise the announcement of the Pro Football Hall of Fame class nationally. We were the first to televise the press conference. We then turned it into our own show where I was hosting that press conference. It pissed off all the reporters and voters when we would drag it out like Jim Gray waiting to get an answer from LeBron James, and then we turned it into its own show outside of a press conference, which pissed off a lot of the voters that there were no questions to be asked. It was me asking the questions. We turned it into that, and then all of a sudden, the NFL Honors is like, we're taking it, and we're putting it into our show, and I'm still thrilled to be part of it. I take this very, very seriously. So I always thought Bob Kraft deserves to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It has been long delayed, and I thought that, again, this delay should be over next Thursday when the announcement is made of the Canton class. I always thought Robert Kraft, was getting penalized by the voters because of the gates. And I don't mean Antonio. I mean the spy and the deflate. Those gates. The spy gate and deflate gate. And I thought it was unfair that he was going to be the one bearing the brunt, because I've said it multiple times here. You guys may recall it. You may all out there listening to my voice on ESPN Radio or Sirius XM Channel 80 or watching me on these new platforms for our show starting last September. You may be new, so I'll just repeat for you. I've always said Robert Kraft is being unfairly penalized in a way that neither Bill Belichick nor Tom Brady will when they get eligible for Pro Football Hall of Fame enshrinement. And lo and behold, last night comes the report from our friends of the program and outstanding reporters in their own rights. And when Seth Wickersham and Don Van Natta get together, you know something's about to drop.
Yeah, exactly.
And they together dropped the bomb last night that Bill Belichick will not be part of this Canton class. He will not be a first ballot Pro Football Hall of Fame head coach. And to that, I say, get out of here. You've got to be kidding me on all of that. That even when Spygate was happening and how outrageous it was and brazen it was, Deflategate was absurd from jump. Absurd from jump. That even if you thought it wasn't absurd from jump, going through it all, and that sucked going through it. I mean, honestly, the conversations we were having on this show when it was happening, going through pages and pages of reports about it. I never once thought at the end of the day, Bill Belichick wasn't still a Hall of Fame head coach, and a first ballot one at that. It's crazy that this guy is not going to go in the Pro Football Hall of Fame the first second he can. And I am not even going to, what's the word for it? I won't even dignify any of this by going through his resume. We all know it. To the point where Michael Irvin once said on NFL Network and then repeated it over and over and over again, to the point where I said, you now need to go to the press conference that Bill Belichick is holding and ask him if he wants this.
Oh, right, yeah.
To rename the Lombardi Trophy the Belichick Trophy.
Exactly.
That's how many times this guy has won it. And to make it worse, because it makes it worse, for one of the voters in Bill Polian, I'm name-checking him now, for him to say to Sports Illustrated that it's a categorical lie if anybody said that he said in the voting room a couple of weeks ago that the cheating scandals should disqualify him from being a first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm paraphrasing apparently what was ascribed to him in that room based on the reporting from Seth Wickersham and Don Van Natta. For him to say that he not only didn't say that, and that he told Sports Illustrated, I voted for Belichick, only to have Don Van Natta contact him later on, and on the record, him tell Don that he no longer can recall if he voted for Belichick or not. He did remember that somebody did mention in the room that these scandals should be on the table, considering him for enshrinement right away. And that he didn't remember if he could vote for him. Just smacks of passing the buck, especially since we all remember what happened back in the day when Belichick's teams were beating up on the Colts and beating Peyton Manning and beating up on their receivers, and Ty Law wasn't, suddenly gets called for holding, and who was in charge of the competition committee back in the day, and maybe putting a thumb on the scale about the rules and how it's called and all of that stuff, which, by the way, does not even raise to the level of the cheating scandals that were talked about. Okay? And I understand there may be everybody out there saying, yeah, but what about Spygate? What about Deflategate? And I will just say this about Spygate. It was brazen. It was wild. And at the end of the day, the famous moment where Bob Kraft, once upon a time, asked Bill Belichick, according to many reports, give me a percentage of how much this helped us. The Spygate stuff. And he said about 1% to 2%. And Kraft apparently called Belichick a schmuck because the risk certainly wasn't worth the reward. And then Jimmy Johnson himself. I mean, just take a look at, if you think I'm out of pocket, look at the Pro Football Hall of Famers and Hall of Famers, future and present, from all the other sports that were tweeting out how crazy it was. Jimmy Johnson's the first one up here, calling it just wrong. Number 2 winning all time. He even went into the, resume a bit, calling a lot of small, jealous voters. I would like to know the names of the, expletive deleted, who did not vote for him. They are too cowardly to identify themselves. There's a list of 50, and there had to be at least 11 who said no. Mm-hmm. And if they're using the excuse of Spygate, that's ridiculous, said Jimmy Johnson. Many teams, including ourselves, tried it. Howard Mudd at Kansas City, who later coached for Bill Polian, and Tony Dungy, who's another voter, gave us the idea. He was the best. We didn't get anything and stopped, but many teams gave it a try. Says Jimmy Johnson. Put up all the other tweets, too. Dion chimed in. And, call him best coach to ever coach the game. How quickly we forget the impact he made on all of us. Wow, says Hall of Famer. Patrick Mahomes, future Hall of Famer. Don't even understand that could be possible. Called it insane. J.J. Watt can't be reading this right. He's going in the Hall of Fame. He's going to be a first ballot. There's not a single world whatsoever in which Belichick should not be a first ballot Hall of Famer, says a future first ballot Hall of Famer. Troy Aikman called it a disappointing day for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Again, I mentioned Bill Polian by name because of the reporting surrounding it. But he and whomever else said no. There's 11 of 11. It was a groupthink moment.
Mm-hmm.
And even worse, there was a group of 9 that forwards Belichick as a finalist. And then because he's denied, Shanahan didn't get a shot.
Right.
And Holmgren didn't get a shot. And Coughlin didn't get a shot. And those guys are now going to have to wait another 2 years because next year, is his penalty over? Is Belichick's penalty over? And then, just for my own personal 2 cents, okay? In the times that have been around him, and it's tough, again, I don't know if some of the votes against him because he was rude, gruff in press conferences, and some of the other voters were this, that, the other thing. I sure hope it's not his current state of personal affairs, because that's stupid times 10.
Also, you're not supposed to consider that.
Correct.
Type of stuff.
But being around this guy, he is football incarnate. He is a walking encyclopedia. He is a walking lover of the game and the sport.
Historian.
The historian is a perfect word for it, TJ. I saw it on the NFL 100 set. I saw one by one of every single member of that team that was kind enough to bestow us with their presence for that show. Every one of them kissed this man's ring and had not a single problem doing it. Not a single one. From the old school to the current school, none of it. Nobody sat there and went like, oh, man, he's part of this team, an NFL 100 team, because, I don't know, the Spygate and Deflategate and the gate this and the gate that. At the end of the day, Bill Belichick is a first ballot Hall of Famer, except in the mind's eye of 11 of the 50 voters. And I don't know who's going to step forward and go, this is why I did it, because we're all talking about it. And when he's not on that stage next Thursday, it's going to be weird.
And embarrassing.
But not for the people who are getting in.
Yeah.
Okay? The people who are getting in get in their own rights. It's not like would have taken one of their spots. There's just a spot for the coach. There's going to be a spot empty. And I hope Bob Kraft is on that stage because he deserves it.
But that's no guarantee now.
Well, who knows?
And are they going to make Tom and Gronk wait?
There's no way.
They were part of it too.
I mean,
what do you mean? We said the same thing about
Bill.
There's
not a chance. There shouldn't be.
We need to show them a lesson.
How about this? How about this? If Tom Brady's not a first ballot Hall of Famer because of all of this, I don't know. Maybe we should just close up shop. And I don't ever want to say that because I love the people of Canton. They are probably mortified right now that this process is being discussed in this manner right now with such disgust. Because all they want is for people to show in their awesome city and have the red carpet rolled out by thousands of awesome people in Stark County, Ohio, and please come. And they don't want this thing to be like, well, did I vote for him? I don't remember. Oh, the vote was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I may have voted for him.
It's not like you're voting for city council when you're voting, right? You go down. You don't really know what this
How do you
does.
not remember if you voted for Bill Belichick or not? It just makes the whole process feel completely off center.
And it tarnishes the other voters. It tarnishes the Hall. Honestly, the Hall should probably step in and take this upon themselves.
They can't because the Hall needs to be.
It's their museum.
I know it's their museum, but they cannot be part of it. What they need to, they do, which is roll out the red carpet for these folks who get in, and for everybody else who's kind enough to keep coming back, and for everybody who's kind enough to show up because it's special to them, and they're awesome at it. And nothing should be directed in their direction at all about this. Zero. Please, folks, understand. The Hall of Fame has nothing to do with, nor does the NFL. Also, it's the 50 voters who have this right.
Well, not for long.
I don't know. I don't know.
You're just proving you're unserious.
I cannot.
You're not equipped for the job.
And again, I understand there's a lot of you out there. There should be some sort of penalty for what they were accused or caught of doing. And personally, I think it's time served. I fully, again, the last Jimmy Johnson tweet about others doing it. This was in response. He retweeted a couple of radio hosts saying that they were proud of the voters for being the ones at the gate protecting the Hall of Fame from a cheater getting a first ballot status. And his response was this, that it's been done before, and even by somebody who was later hired by two of the voters, one of whom was reported to be the one rousing the rabble, and then denied it, and then said he couldn't remember if he did it.
There's a Bill Cowher video.
The whole thing just stinks, man. It just stinks.
Yeah.
And but I guess due to if the same voters are voting when Brady's in, is he not first ballot?
That's what we were wondering.
Tom Brady has chimed in on all this. That would be so absurd. That would be off the charts absurd. Okay? Off the charts. Because they won all of these games and they won all of these Super Bowls and they did it all. And Belichick asked anybody who's coached by him how good he is and how unqualified anybody who says he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer